Joe went to lunch with someone who wanted to meet Joe in person. This individual Joe met with was interested in raising capital for their fix and flip deals, and the purpose of meeting Joe was to learn how he raised money. He asked Joe a lot of questions about how to find investors, where to find investors, the paperwork and kind of legal documents that are needed to raise money properly, how to structure investor partnerships, how to talk to investors. Really every question you could possibly think of, this guy came prepared to ask, and Joe answered Joe answered all the questions that he asked. At the beginning of the meeting, before asking all these questions, this individual also asked Joe if there's anything that he needed help with. And true to his word, at the end of the meeting, he asked Joe what he can do to help out. And Joe gets this question a lot, of course, because he is a big investor. He is a big podcast guy, and so everyone knows that he likely has some sort of need that he needs help with, and they are happy to help out with that, and we greatly appreciate that. So typically, when he gets this question, he'll say one of three things. He'll either say, buy his book, buy one of our books, listen to the podcast and leave a review, and be on the lookout for certain size deals. So this individual, so Joe said, thanks for asking to help me out. Here are the three things you can help me out with. Anything that you could do would be appreciated. So you can kind of pick one of those, and that's what I need. So this guy said that he's interested. He really enjoys listening to audiobooks. He really enjoys reading books, and that he would buy the audio version of one of Joe's books after he finishes the current 2 or 3 other books that he's listening to. They shook hands. The meeting ended, and they parted ways. Now the question that we pose is, how good did this individual do at adding value to Joe's life? And the true answer is, well, it's to be determined. Of course, he had really good intentions. He asked to add value. He asked what he could do to add value, but the execution in this particular case was lacking. And here's why. The added value is kind of a potential right now. He may or may not buy the audiobook. Joe really may never know unless the person buys the audiobook and buys the audiobook and sends him a screenshot. So the whole point is that when you are in these opportunities, when you're meeting with a big time investor, a big time podcaster, someone who is doing what you want to do, someone who could be a very valuable asset in your business, you want to make sure that when Joe, when this big time person asks themselves, how good did you do at adding value to my life? The answer should be, you did an amazing job. It shouldn't be, well, he did an okay job, or well, I don't really know, because he hasn't actually added value yet. So what this person should have done differently, and what you should do differently if you're in similar situations, is to, rather than say, I'm in the middle of listening to a few other audiobooks, once I'm done listening to those, then yeah, I totally plan on buying your book. Instead, say, well, I'm listening to 2 other audiobooks right now, and I'll listen to your audiobook when I'm done, but I'm going to buy your book right now, and right now, and then literally pull his phone out, buy the book. So now Joe knows that he said he's going to buy the book. He says he's going to listen to the book, which he may or may not do, but the value add is actually purchasing the book. And so now Joe sees him purchase the book, and boom, now he can answer the question, well, this guy added a ton of value because I want people to buy my book. He bought my book. I guess a strategy that's slightly below that is saying, oh, I'm going to buy your book in the park once I get back in my car. Still better than saying I'll buy it once I'm done reading my 2 or 3 books, but not as good as saying you're going to buy it immediately. So huge difference in the perception of the value that is being added. The reason why he told this story about immediately adding value is because he was able to get an investor this way. So on one of his deals, one of the investors on his deals, he got using this strategy. So his story was that he was on a podcast, someone else's podcast. Someone listened to that podcast and reached out to Joe, and they needed help on something. They needed some sort of referral to be helped out with some issue they're having in their business. And Joe immediately referred him to the people that he thought could help him, because Joe, in this particular case, wasn't the person that could help him out the most. So again, rather than this person calling him up or emailing him and Joe saying, "Well, I can't help you, but I'll look and see if I can find someone else." Instead, he got the message. He read the message. He said, "Okay, this person needs help with XYZ. Well, that's not something I specifically specialize in, but I do know, Billy Bob Joe over here, who's really good really solid in that aspect of real estate. So, okay, I'm gonna refer Billy Bob Joe to this guy. So, hey, thanks for reaching out. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I personally can't help you out with this, but my good friend Billy Bob Joe is really good at this part of the business. I see down this email, so you guys should definitely connect, and he can help you out." Very simple. Didn't take too much time, but extremely effective. And this person ended up investing in his deal. And an argument can be made that is because of how quickly Joe replied with the value already added.